Have you ever truly stopped to ask yourself, why did we, as humans, invent religion at all? Not why some still cling to it today, not whether it's good or bad, but why the very first humans reached for belief in the first place. Why, at the dawn of consciousness, when we looked at the stars, we imagined they were watching us back. Why every culture, from icy tundras to steaming jungles, told stories of spirits, gods, and hidden worlds beyond the visible. Because the birth of religion isn't just a story of faith, it's the story of us, our fears, our hopes, our minds, and if we understand why it was born, we can better understand why it endures, and why it still shapes our politics, our identities, and our deepest desires. This isn't just a question of history, it's a question of who we are and who we might become. Because in the end, religion's story is our story, and we're still writing its final chapters. Imagine it. Early humans, slowly evolving larger brains, developing language, and beginning to wonder about tomorrow. For the first time, they remembered the past, planned the future, and realized they were mortal. They watched friends fall ill, children die, rivers flood unpredictably, storms tear apart forests. In those moments, they realized the world was not only beautiful but brutal, and it did not care about their hopes or plans. Every sunrise brought uncertainty, every nightfall, danger. And with that awareness came the agony of questions no one could answer. Where did we come from? Why do we suffer? The ache of unknowing became too heavy to bear, so they reached for stories to soothe it. Our brains are pattern machines. They seek order even where none exists. A rustle in the bushes wasn't just wind, it might be a predator. Better to assume intention than randomness. This survival mechanism helped keep us alive, but it also led us to imagine agency in every thunderclap, every eclipse, every disease. Randomness is terrifying because it means there's nothing we can do, but assigning intention makes us feel like we have options. Maybe the storm could be calmed, the plague lifted, the spirits appeased. By imagining that nature had moods, we believed we could bargain, plead, or repent. In that illusion of negotiation, we felt less powerless, and in that feeling, religion began to take root. Around fires, elders told stories of heroes who calmed storms, ancestors who earned the favor of rain spirits, enemies punished by angry gods. These stories didn't just entertain, they passed on survival knowledge, reinforced shared values, and bound people together with a common worldview. They offered explanations when the stars moved in strange patterns or animals changed their migrations. They turned random death into a moral tale, giving reasons even when there were none. They taught children how to avoid dangers, but also how to behave within the tribe. And slowly, as these stories were told and retold, they began to feel sacred. Not just stories, but truths. In every tribe, certain people became keepers of these stories: shamans, healers, diviners. Their deep knowledge of plants, animal behavior, and the sky earned respect. Over time, their understanding, or claimed understanding, of the unseen world turned them into authorities. They learned to read subtle signs in weather or animal tracks and framed this knowledge as secret wisdom. Their ability to heal with herbs or rituals gave them a mystique beyond ordinary people. They could reinforce their own importance by interpreting dreams, omens, and coincidences as messages from beyond. And in times of crisis, they became indispensable because everyone wanted someone who claimed to understand the chaos. Before kingdoms, police, or written laws, fear of invisible forces was the cheapest, most reliable way to keep order. If everyone believed a spirit watched their every move, honesty and conformity increased, even when no one else was around. Parents taught children that misbehavior might anger a spirit lurking in the shadows. Leaders used the threat of curses or divine wrath to settle disputes without bloodshed. Guilt and anxiety became tools of social regulation, so effective they needed no guards or armies. This emotional economy of fear created stability, but also set the foundation for manipulation on a massive scale. As human groups grew larger, from tribes into villages, then cities, social complexity demanded new tools for cohesion. Religion offered a framework. It sanctified social hierarchies. Kings became divine or chosen by gods. Priests codified laws into commandments. Sacred rituals marked transitions like birth, marriage, and death, giving order to life's chaos. Religious festivals set communal calendars, aligning farming cycles and reinforcing shared identity. Temples became centers not just of worship, but of trade, education, and governance. Laws backed by divine authority carried more weight than those made by mere mortals. Religious unity allowed cities to expand beyond family ties, creating loyalty to abstract ideas rather than just bloodlines. The world is messy, life is unpredictable, but religion offered certainty. Every question had an answer. Why do we exist? Because a God made us. Why do we suffer? Because of sin or fate. What happens after death? Heaven, hell, reincarnation. Certainty freed people from the constant mental strain of doubt and ambiguity. It made decisions feel guided, not random, and suffering feel purposeful, not meaningless. It reassured communities during famine, war, or plague that there was a plan, even if they couldn't see it. But this same certainty became a trap. Once you believe you hold the ultimate truth, questioning becomes dangerous, and curiosity turns into sin. As beliefs formalized, many religions developed the idea that humans are inherently broken, born sinful, unworthy, or impure. This idea made people dependent on religious authorities for forgiveness. Guilt became a lever of power, keeping individuals locked in cycles of sin and absolution. People began to blame personal failures on spiritual weakness rather than practical causes. Religious leaders offered solutions, but only through loyalty, confession, and tithes. This dynamic allowed those in power to redefine morality as obedience, not compassion, and it kept people focused on their own guilt instead of questioning systemic injustices in society. Travel thousands of miles and centuries apart, and you still find strikingly similar religious patterns: great floods washing the earth, dying and resurrecting gods, divine laws given to chosen people, final judgments separating righteous from wicked. These myths repeat because humans everywhere feared the same things: the unknown, the unfairness of death, the cruelty of fate. We wanted heroes who could conquer death or show that suffering had purpose. We needed to believe our tribe was chosen, special, or protected to survive competition with others. These stories are like psychological fingerprints, left by the same human needs manifesting across cultures. Religions that spread best were those flexible enough to adapt. As empires expanded, conquerors realized that instead of erasing local beliefs, it was easier to merge them. Roman Christianity took pagan festivals and rebranded them. Islam incorporated tribal customs from Arabia. Hinduism absorbed countless regional deities into its pantheon. This cultural malleability let religions survive upheavals, migrations, and conquests. It allowed missionaries to claim that old local gods were really saints or angels in disguise. Adaptation made conversion feel less like betrayal and more like continuity, and it kept religions relevant, even as societies changed beyond recognition. As societies became kingdoms and empires, rulers saw the utility of religion. A monarch ruling by divine right was harder to challenge than one ruling by force alone. Priests became bureaucrats. Temples became tax collectors. Religion legitimized political power, and in return, power protected religious institutions. Empires found religion useful to unite diverse peoples under a single ideology. Religious holidays became patriotic events celebrating both God and country. Sacred symbols appeared on coins, flags, and royal regalia, blurring the line between faith and state. This marriage of altar and throne made revolts not only political treason, but spiritual heresy. Once religion defined insiders and outsiders, violence became holy. Crusades, jihads, inquisitions, wars and persecutions framed as divine commands. Converting others wasn't just persuasion, it was conquest sanctified by faith. When gods declared outsiders as enemies, empathy disappeared, replaced by righteous fury. Massacres could be justified as spiritual victories. Slavery could be framed as saving souls. Cultural genocide became an act of love, destroying others' beliefs to replace them with truth. These holy violences scar history, showing how easily moral certainties can lead to cruelty. Religions don't just offer answers, they create identity. From birth, children were baptized, circumcised, or dedicated to gods. Sacred symbols marked who belonged and who didn't. Shared rituals reinforced group solidarity. Songs, prayers, and taboos created a sense of us, distinct from them. Language and laws evolved alongside religious stories, baking faith into every aspect of life. Ethnic and national identities often fused with religious ones, making separation almost impossible. Even those who stopped believing still carried cultural remnants in holidays, customs, and superstitions. Some faiths went beyond controlling behavior, teaching that even thoughts could be sinful. Doubt wasn't curiosity, it was rebellion. This internal policing made people watch their own minds, fearing that even private questions could anger gods. Confession became not just an act of humility, but a way to monitor and correct inner lives. Taboos expanded to thoughts about sex, status, or fairness, reinforcing hierarchies. Communities shunned those who voiced doubts, making silence safer than honesty. This environment stifled critical thinking, turning blind faith into the highest virtue. As scientific understanding advanced, it began encroaching on mysteries religion once owned. Astronomy revealed Earth wasn't the center of the cosmos. Biology showed species evolved. Medicine explained diseases without demons or curses. Discoveries challenged the literal truth of sacred texts, forcing believers to choose between evidence and tradition. Religious authorities condemned new knowledge as dangerous, corrupting, or heretical. Books were banned, scientists exiled, ideas suppressed to protect doctrines. But slowly, undeniable evidence shifted public perception, forcing religions to reinterpret or retreat. Yet religion didn't collapse. It adapted again. Literal readings became allegories. Fundamentalists emerged, but so did reformers. New denominations, syncretic movements, and spiritual but not religious identities grew. Faith communities embraced social media, podcasts, and global networks to spread messages. Religions adopted psychological language, promising wellness alongside salvation. Some repositioned themselves as champions of social justice to stay relevant in changing times. But at their core, they continued offering certainty and identity, the oldest selling points of belief. Religion has inspired breathtaking art, cathedrals touching the sky, music transcending language. It's built communities, fed the poor, healed the sick. Faith can drive people to incredible acts of love and sacrifice. Its rituals give meaning to life events, birth, marriage, death, connecting generations. Sacred architecture and music create spaces for reflection and transcendence. Religious communities can mobilize resources faster than governments in times of crisis. Yet the same faith that uplifts can exclude, condemn, and divide, beauty and burden forever entwined.